Everybody, and welcome back to our weekly live stream, Food for 15 minutes with some food for thought and some big issues. And I've got Pete back with me tonight to chat through a massive issue, which is this. Is social media helping us to lose track of what is true? So Pete, we live in this world, don't we, of fake news. Did Donald Trump incite a riot in America? Is the COVID vaccine safe to use? Is Brexit right or wrong? What are the reasons for that? All of this stuff is just like bombarded at us now, isn't it? And so
it is indeed.
So like genuinely, if I went on my social media now and I talked about the COVID vaccine, if I talked about Brexit, if I talked about pretty much anything, I'd have to duck for cover because I have so many people saying, well, that's not true, and that's true, and that's a lie, and that's fake news. I don't know where I stand anymore. So would you say, seems though we got you back on as the in-house techie geek, nerd, internet, nerd, whatever you are, if I was to be rude to you, would you say we're more divided? And because of that, all of these different views, have we always been kind of this divided?
I think that's a really interesting question to think through, actually. And I don't know if I have a good answer for you, but I'll give you what I think. I think people have always had strong and conflicting opinions. I think you can, look back in history at how wars have started and, civil wars and political unrest. So I don't think there's anything new with people having strong and conflicting opinions. I think that's always been there in the world. But I guess what's changed is the medium we have to express them, and the medium, and the fact that we can now share our opinions with so many people at a click of a few buttons. And I don't need to be a politician to share my opinions with lots of people. I don't need to be a journalist. I can just be Joe Blogs on the street, and I have a way of sharing,
well, I guess,
my opinions with so many people.
What we're doing now is like a prime example of that, isn't it? Right? Because you are
absolutely, yeah.
Blogs, and why should anyone care about what you have to say or I have to say? Why should anyone care what the church has to say? We're both representing Christchurch Orchard Park, so but we all everyone has this kind of access. Yeah.
And it also feels a little bit, this isn't always true, but if we can do it in a really funny way or a controversial way, or I would say even an extremist way, the larger our reach is going to be.
Yeah.
The more people are going to share it, even if they're sharing it to say they disagree. I can get and reach a larger audience by maybe spinning what I'm wanting to say in a way that I know is going to get attention.
If you're a bit brave, a bit bold, and you say, I voted Brexit, you're going to get people attracted. I'm not saying what I voted, I'm just saying that as an idea. But you're gonna attract stuff at you. Whereas a lot of us, but then some of us just keep our heads down, don't we? Because we're scared of getting the flag.
We do. I can do a prime example, and it's a funny example of me personally. When I was in the US a few years back, in my hotel, there was a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump. So I just thought it was funny. I got someone to take a picture of me with my arm around this cardboard cutout of Donald Trump. And I just put on Facebook this picture of me with Donald Trump with us saying, so look who I found. Not trying to be controversial, just because I thought it was a bit funny. Well, literally, the comments I got, it exploded. People saying, I hope you spat on him, or I can be your friend if you get, it was a cardboard cutout of the guy, and it just exploded.
Didn't you get attacked in the street a while back? And was that around the same time as that? Maybe someone saw that and went for you.
Yeah, possibly. I didn't get that. That is true, but yeah. So
with all this stuff online and so more people are saying more stuff. Is that because we're more informed today? Is it because we have more information to share? Because it's interesting because obviously everyone thinks they've got information to share because everyone's sharing stuff. But is that the case that we are more informed today and therefore we have more opinions?
I think we have easier access to information and to data. I think that's true. You know, the internet has given us its wealth of information at the touch of our buttons. And nowadays, when we want to say something, we Google it, don't we? That's become an expression. That's how we find and access our information. In fact, or we ask Alexa, or we ask, you know, some other digital assistant that we might have at our fingertips. But I don't think we ever think, is it give it? We either just assume it's given us the truthful information. I don't think we often think, is it? And I think the problem is we've got more access to information, but just as much as there's more factual information around, there's a lot more infactual information. So it's becoming increasingly hard to decipher which is the factual information, which is infactual. There's just more information available, total.
Yeah.
And there's no information police, is there? No one polices the internet. Anybody can write a blog post and put anything on the internet.
That is true. That is true. Although I would say maybe more and more there are some people trying to do information policing, but that's another story. And so
there is people trying to do it, but are they the correct people is a completely another question.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we might come on to some of that in a second. So in terms of there is information out there, kind of anyone can put it out there. How does social media relate to that? What's the impact of social media on how we form our opinions now? Because I think it is having a massive impact on how we form our opinions.
It is having it definitely does have a strong opinion, and I think there's a lot of things to consider. But I think what you've got to go back to is why, and something you've got to understand is, why does social media exist? What are the social media companies? You know, are they just society do-gooders who are trying to give a free service for us all to keep in touch with one another? And the truth of the matter, that's just not true. They're commercial businesses trying to make money. That is what Facebook is. That is what Instagram is. That is what Twitter is. They're businesses designed to make money. Now, and so what are they selling? That's the one thing we've got to ask the question is, how do they make their money? What are they selling? And what is the purpose of the sort of platform that we all sign up to and enjoy so much? And ultimately, what are they selling? And some people won't like me saying this, but they're selling us. We are the asset that they hold. All the data on us, they can sell that to marketing companies, and they can do targeted marketing. A lot of, television advertising, a lot of other advertising mediums, I was reading something about it the other day, are trying to now get some of the newspapers are trying to say Facebook should give them a share of their advertising profits. It's because they can't sell advertising anymore. Because who do I spend my advertising budget with? Something that just goes to a general people, or something that's going to be targeted and get to the people who actually want to buy my product. That's what Facebook is selling. They're selling you, and not just Facebook. A lot of these media conversations. So why say that in terms of how is it informing our opinions? Well, so therefore, if you're the thing that I've got to sell, what do I need? I need you to be on my platform. If you're not on my platform, I've got nothing to sell. So what I want to do is make sure it's a platform. I want you to log on daily, several times a day. And when you're on, I want you to stay online. So how do I do that? Well, I do that by showing you information that you want to read. If when I look on Facebook, it wasn't anything I want to read, there'd be no point me being online. So these companies have got incredible algorithms, AI algorithms, and that process everything you put on data, not just what you put on, but what other people put on. They can tell from your facial recognition that that's you, and they can see what you're eating, who you're with, who you're friends with, and they build a profile up of you. And then they're going to give you the news feeds, even other posts by other people. You're only seeing what they think you're interested in. They're not going to show you someone you're not interested in. And it's all targeted around who you are and what you want to see, because what they want to do is keep you on the platform, keep you clicking. And if you pause for a little bit longer on one thing in a news feed, you're going to see more of it. So your news feeds become an echo chamber.
Yeah.
The more things you're interested in, the more opinions you have, what you post, what you write, that all helps them to work out what you want to see and will give you more. So any opinions you have are just going to get, they're going to basically give you what you want to see. They're not going to give you a nice balanced opinion of everybody's opinions. They give you more and more of what you want. So you can become more and more interested in that idea. And therefore, if that's a controversial thing, you see how you can get the mob culture, because you want to you want to be anti a particular government, or you want to be anti some environmentalists or something like that. They'll show you more and more posts of people who think the same things.
Yeah.
So you become more and more obsessed with that one issue.
It's insane because I'm not massively into politics or anything really, but what I've kind of done is I tried to like loads of different groups across the spectrum, and so it's fascinating. Like when you go into those chats and groups and things, and it's like, and you couldn't believe like we live on the same planet, like the way we all look at the world. Because this group like thinks one thing. I mean, I don't even say anything live because I don't want to cause controversy here. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at these things and you're like, how do we even live on the same planet? Like, and some people I know be in this group, and some people I know be in this group, and they're just like, it's crazy, but they live in the same town, but they just have completely different worlds. As a Christian, then,
absolutely,
and because obviously we want to like chat a little bit from our perspective of faith in God and what difference that makes. What concerns as a Christian would you have about what that is doing then to us?
Yeah, I think my main.
I'll add on to that. Why does knowing what is true also matter? So what concerns do you have? But then also, like, why do we need to know the truth?
Yeah, and I think it's. I think that's a really interesting question, because it is important to know the truth, and I think that's the answer to the question. Is truth is actually really important as a Christian, and I think it's actually important to everyone. This, you'll hear some people say, "Well, what is truth anyway? We can't ever know truth, so does truth really matter?" But I think what all this does is it's just degrading truth. So truth is being degraded generally away in our society, because if we don't know what truth is and what's true anyway, and we've got so many opinions, then does truth actually matter? And and some people might say, well, does it really matter what truth is? And the problem is, I think truth does matter. It matters when it affects us personally. So let's take a silly example. There may be something on Facebook saying that, is there going to be another series of The Only Way Is Essex? Now, I don't know why I've picked that, because I've never watched it in my life, but that's me trying to be popular because I'm streaming on the internet. But no, so and is that important? Well, probably to me it's not very important whether there's going to be another series or not. So if someone's saying there is and it's not true, does that really matter? Who does it affect? Well, it might not be important to me, but actually if you're a member of the cast who are producing that series, it probably is an important truth to know whether it's true or not. Because am I getting paid? Have I got another job to go to? What's that matters to someone. And I think that's the thing with truth, is it always matters. You mentioned in your introduction about the COVID vaccines. I saw something about on social media the other day that the Oxford vaccine was causing blood clots. Is that true? And then you read into an article and you found out it was just a sensational headline, and it probably wasn't. And there was no more evidence for it than other things. But does that matter? If we know the truth? Well, it matters. If I'm about to go and get the Oxford vaccine, I'd quite like to know whether it's safe or not. So as it starts to impact us, truth matters, and we all want to know what is true. So I think, why is that important as a Christian? Well, ultimately in life, we're all going to have to face big questions, aren't we? Where truth is going to be important. What happens when we die? What happens to loved ones when they die? These are questions which, when we're faced with things like death, and we don't like to talk about death, so we could just brush that aside. But when we're faced with those questions, actually the truth matters. It really matters. And I think as a Christian, truth needs to be even more important, because let's take, the claims of Jesus. And this is why I think, regardless of whether you're Christian or not, you have to, I think, take seriously the claims of Jesus, and you should want to know, are they true or not?
What happens?
And it's worth investigating whether they're true or not. Because he claimed. Sorry.
What happens in John 18 is, which is a part of the Bible, is what you're talking about. But it's tragic, because Jesus has been taken before the courts. He's been arrested. He's been taken before the Roman governor, because the Jews can't decide what to do with him. And this is like a matter of life and death. And this is a matter of a riot as well, because if the crowd don't get what they want, there's going to be a riot. So it's a matter of a riot in the city. It's a matter of life and death. It's a matter of the release of a serious criminal. And it's a matter of, who is Jesus, this guy that's been going around for 3 years, doing good things, but is he just a good guy, or is he really God? And it's a matter of huge stakes. And Pontius Pilate says, what is truth? And he downgrades truth completely at the most critical point in his life, when the most fundamental question of who is this man, who is he really, and he says, what is truth? He just avoids the issue. But actually, at some point, I guess what you're saying, when it comes to the big questions, truth really matters.
He does, doesn't he? And I guess that shows that this question's been around for many years. What is truth? It's not new to today or social media. And Jesus claimed that, one of the claims of Jesus is that everyone will, when we die, our soul doesn't die, we're going to spend eternity. We will live forever, and that's everyone. The question is, though, where? Where are you going to spend eternity? Are you going to spend it in eternal life with the maker of the universe and God in paradise, or are you going to spend it separated from God in hell? And so if that claim is true, and Jesus claims to have the answer to eternity with God in paradise, then surely that's a truth that's worth investigating to decide if it's true or not, I would say. Whether you're a Christian, but to just not investigate it, not care whether it's true, just go, well, what is truth anyway?
One of the most famous verses, one of the famous quotes of Jesus, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So it all comes back to him. No one can, and so the way into that eternal life is, come to me in faith. I'm the forgiver of sins. I'm the restorer of people's lives. I'm the rebuilder of people's lives, and I'm the king of people's lives. Come to me, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Like, that means the claims of Jesus are worth taking seriously. And what I would do as well is I would point people towards next week. I know we've been a little long tonight, but next week we're going to do a mega Easter special, because it's fascinating how little, I think, in today's society we know about the evidence and the case for who Jesus was. Possibly because we live in this world where that kind of information isn't really presented, is it? But we're going to look at the evidence. I'm going to get on a very clever guy who I know, who's read a lot of books, done a lot of research, and we're going to chat. Because what I find fascinating about the case for Jesus is that when we go on the internet, so we're sucked towards the things we want to hear. The Bible talks about that. It says often we hear what our itching ears want to hear. Like we go, we're not just brains, are we? We're hearts and wills. So we go there. But actually, more than that, we can go right back to original sources, reliable information, historical stuff that actually you can buy off Amazon or whatever and have it in your house in a few days' time and look at it. And actually, is this evidence that we've got in our Bibles and in other places, is it reliable or is it not? Well, obviously, the case has been made time and time again that it is reliable, that it is good, and there's lots of reasons for that. So I think one of the benefits we have is we can go right back to the source rather than to the the massive information and who's right. Actually, go back to the source and find out and read it for yourself. So we'll be talking about that next week. But thanks for your time, Pete.
Brilliant.
I've got something on now. Rob. I'm going to go, but thanks everyone for listening, and join us next week. It's going to be Easter special. If you've not thought about this stuff before, then you have to tune in next week, because I think next week potentially, the story of many people's lives is the stuff we're going to talk about next week is pretty life-changing. So come on next week. I'm really excited about that. See you soon. Thanks.